The Mermaid Curse. In a quiet African village surrounded by lush greenery and the hum of nature, there lived a young man named Daniel. He was well loved in the community for his generosity and strong work ethic. Daniel spent his days tending to his family's farm and helping his neighbors, always with a smile on his face. Life was simple, but he was content. One day, while walking through the village market, Daniel met a strikingly beautiful woman named Lila. Her presence was magnetic, and her kindness drew people to her like moths to a flame. Lila had recently moved to the village, and though no one knew much about her past, she quickly became a beloved figure. Daniel was instantly smitten. Her laughter was like music, and her eyes seemed to hold secrets he longed to uncover. Over time, Daniel and Lila grew close. They spent countless hours together, sharing stories and dreams. Daniel felt as though he had found his perfect match, and one evening, under the stars, he asked Lila to marry him. She agreed, and the two began planning their future together. The village buzzed with excitement for the upcoming wedding. But as the days passed, Daniel began to notice something strange about Lila. She would often disappear for hours, sometimes even days, without explanation. When he asked her where she went, she would simply smile and say she needed time to herself. Daniel tried to ignore his growing unease, but the feeling that something was wrong gnawed at him. One fateful afternoon, Daniel returned home early from the field and found Lila in the arms of another man, a stranger named Marcus. The sight shattered Daniel's heart. Lila, caught in the act, begged for forgiveness, tears streaming down her face. She claimed Marcus had seduced her and that she had made a terrible mistake. Daniel, though devastated, told her he forgave her. But deep inside, his heart burned with rage and betrayal. Unbeknownst to Lila, Daniel's forgiveness was a lie. He could not bear the thought of losing her, but he also couldn't let the betrayal go unpunished. Consumed by anger, Daniel devised a plan to exact his revenge. One night, he lured both Lila and Marcus to a secluded part of the forest. There, in a fit of blind rage, he killed them both. The act left him hollow, but he convinced himself that justice had been served. Days turned into weeks, and life in the village seemed to return to normal. But strange things began to happen. The once thriving crops began to wither, and the animals grew restless. The villagers spoke of eerie whispers in the wind and shadows that moved on their own. Daniel's home, once filled with warmth and laughter, became a place of cold silence. One night, as Daniel lay in bed, he was visited by a vision. It was Lila, but not the Lila he knew. Her eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and her voice echoed with a haunting melody. She revealed her true nature. She was a mermaid. A creature of the sea who had taken human form to experience life on land. Her kind were bound by ancient laws, and by betraying Daniel's trust, she had broken one of the most sacred. Lila's voice trembled as she warned Daniel of the consequences of his actions. The village was cursed, and no one would survive the wrath of the sea. Before Daniel could respond, the vision faded, leaving him in a cold sweat. The next morning, the village was struck by a sudden and violent storm. The winds howled, and the rains poured down in torrents, flooding the land. Daniel's house was swept away, and he, along with his entire household, perished in the chaos. The village was left in ruins, a grim reminder of the consequences of betrayal and revenge. The story of Daniel and Lila became a cautionary tale, passed down through generations. It served as a lesson to all who heard it, a reminder that actions born of anger and deceit can lead to destruction, and that true forgiveness must come from the heart. And so, the village was never rebuilt, but the memory of the mermaid's curse lived on, a haunting reminder of the power of love, betrayal, and the consequences that follow.